All right. Now we're doing freeCodeCamp, JavaScript algorithms and data structures, intermediate algorithm scripting, map the debris. All right. So, according to Kepler's third law, the orbital period T of 2-point masses orbiting each other in a circular elliptical orbit is this right here, believe it or not, where A, or little alpha, I guess, is the orbit's semi-major axis. This thing is the Gm, which is the standard gravitational parameter. G is the gravitational constant. M is the mass of the more massive body, believe it or not. We're going to return a new array that transforms the element's average altitude into their orbital periods in seconds. The array will contain objects in the format name is name, and then average alt is the average alt. The values should be rounded to the nearest whole number. The body being orbited is Earth. The radius of the Earth is this. The GM value of the Earth is this. All right. Terrible, isn't it? Physics on the last one, isn't it? But the thing is, it's not that hard, honestly, because we've got pretty much everything here. The only thing that's kind of going to be tricky is finding out what the semi-major axis is. But the semi-major axis is just a little logic we already know. We just have to think about it, right? So first things first, we're going to say let answer equal something, right? And I would say orbital period, but orbital period is already being used, so we can't use that. So what we're going to do is R, and the first hint is map, right? So we're going to map this, all right? So we're going to say r.map, and what we're going to map through is this array right here with this object in it. So we're going to have the parameter be object, all right? And we'll have the arrow, and we're going to do this little hybrid ES6 hybrid standard style. So we'll just do like this and start it that way, all right? So like I said, the A, this orbit's semi-major axis is going to be the first thing we need to figure out. So we'll say let A, or actually let axis equal. And so the semi-major axis, like let's say it's the Earth right here, and this is Sputnik, which is flying around Earth like this. Basically, what we're going to need is just the radius of Earth from the center of, from the core of the Earth to the surface, and then from the surface to the altitude, right? So we'll just add, what is it? We'll go object dot average alt plus Earth radius, right? So we'll add this thing plus the radius of the Earth, and that'll give us the axis, all right? So after that, all we have to do is basically this thing right here, and we're going to round it to the nearest whole number, right? So for this, all we have to do is say 2 times pi. So we're going to let orbital period. And we can do this because we're inside of the thing, all right? So we'll say let orbital period equal, what are we going to let it equal? 2 times pi. Now, how do we get pi, right? So we've got this thing called math.pi, and basically you just do that, but make sure that this I is capitalized, right? I already messed that one up in the rehearsal. So we'll say math.pi like this. So 2 times math.pi. And then we're going to multiply that by the square root of a to the third power over this thing, which is the GM, right? So we'll say times, come on now, times math.square root, and then we're going to do a axis times 3. So that's to the third power divided by, and then we'll divide that by GM, right? So GM, this thing right here, all right? And now that we've got that, all we have to do is round it. So we're going to wrap this thing up in parentheses, And I don't know if we've gone over math.round yet, but we definitely have math.round, which is the static method that returns a value of a, returns the value of a of a number rounded to the nearest integer. There we go. So we'll just say in front of this math.round. All right. And then we're going to return an object with the name and the orbital period in it. All right. So we'll say down here, we'll return object with name is whatever the name is, object dot name. All right. And then we'll also have orbital period. Orbital period is orbital period. All right. So this is the key name, orbital period equals the value equals this variable right here. Right. And then after that, all we got to do is come down here and say console.log answer. And we'll see Sputnik orbital period is this right here. So it looks like something. I don't know if that's the real answer, but we'll say return answer. And let's wrap this thing up in parentheses. And say in front of that console.log. And it still does what it says. Let's see if it works. And it does. Awesome. And let's submit it. All right. And so that's the end of that. That's the end of intermediate algorithm scripting. So now we're on to JavaScript algorithms and data structure projects. These aren't that hard. I mean, they've got more steps than these, but they're pretty much the same level. The steps are pretty much the same level. It's not anything crazy, right? So now we're on to JavaScript algorithms and data structures projects, and we'll see you next time.